Hello, this is Frannie from season 44 of Survivor, welcoming you to the Pride Has Spoken podcast. You're here, you made it, and wishing you a happy Pride Month. Enjoy!
Welcome back to the Pride Has Spoken, another exciting year, the gayest podcast on RHAP as a podcast. My name is Grace Leeder. Of course, I'm not alone. I'm here with Matt Scott. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm so happy to be here. Happy Pride, everybody. Grace, wonderful to be here with you. But we are not alone. It's not just the two of us.
No.
We are joined by the one, the only, Dr. Evvie Jagoda.
Hello, friends. It's really such a pleasure. You know summer's coming when the Pride Has Spoken is back. And just a quick pronoun check for those of you that can't see our pronouns on the video. Matt, what pronouns are you using these days?
I am using he, him pronouns. And Grace, what pronouns are you using?
I'm using she, her pronouns. Evvie, what about you?
I'm using they, them pronouns. Yeah, and it's really just so wonderful to have a once a year time when the three of us are talking more. So selfishly also, I'm very, very glad that
we're only allowed to speak in the month of June, actually.
Yes, yeah. All gay people just wait on a shelf right until June. Yeah.
Twiddling their thumbs
off. Yeah, a little.
Really blow the dust off. Yeah. No, that's not true, actually. We all saw each other in Chicago. We have a picture together of proof of evidence. We saw many lovely people who listened and wore our t-shirt at the live events in Chicago, and it's been a great year. I feel like we wanted to take this a little time to have a little bit of I guess state of the LGBTQ union. Yeah. Is there a gayer name? I feel like union is such a straight term, but that's fine.
That's true. That's true. Well, I think it's a good gay year for Survivor. I mean, it is. Okay, first of all, we got our two newly out queer lady queens winners in Parvati and Erica, and that is so freaking cool. We just retroactively added two women to our gay winter camp, and that's fucking awesome.
Huge, iconic. Huge. And to recap, you know, Erica, we hear from Erica, oh, I'm so happy to be the first queer woman to win. And then Parvati's like, no, hold my beer. And
which is also very gay, you know, like a little one-upsmanship, you know. Yeah.
So gay. We love it.
We're about a year removed from Yam Yam being a queer Survivor winner as well.
Right?
So
yes.
It has been a lovely year.
First queer person of color to win. And of course, that was the most queer season. We probably talked about this a year ago on the podcast, but still amazing. Also amazing, we should mention that Kenzie is our first out while playing bisexual winner of Survivor. What other queer stuff has been going down in the Survivor land?
Well, you know, and you know, we got a lot of LGBTQ plus players in the last two seasons, especially in Survivor 45, and some of those stories, you know, those people exist and are awesome and queer, and some of those stories of their queerness really wasn't shown on the show. So we'll give this year one demerit in that regard. But I think what's really cool is you're going to get to hear from some of those folks throughout this season and get to hear a bit more of their story. And so, you know, this is the service we provide. So
I will say, I do feel like the show was really just, you know, holding those stories off so that we could cover them. Like, thank you so much, Survivor producers, for saving the queer stuff for us.
If that's true and they're listening, that we're good. You can put it on the show. Appreciate it, but also just put it on camera in front of millions of people, in front of, I'm assuming, like the million people who listen to us. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, we do. We have about 1 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think it has been a very important platform for not just us, but I think it's been very enjoyable. I appreciate Rob Cesternino for giving us this platform, everybody behind the scenes, Tricky and Derek and Jess and Scott and everybody who does work at behind the scenes at Rob's Podcast. There's a very exciting revelation. I think over the past 2 years, folks have been buying the Pride Has Spoken t-shirt, and we've seen them in public, live in the public. And every time I see someone wearing one, I'm like, wow, I should have got that color. every time, because you can get it in any color you would like. Comes in children's sizes. It's great. It is for sale again and is all year round. And the proceeds from that shirt will go to charity, which we'll tell you about in a second. But we have an exciting update. Matt, do you want to share the news with our?
Oh my
lovely
gosh,
listeners?
I feel
pass it
so
over to you.
honored.
Yeah.
So it's just been such a joy, like seeing people with the shirts. But this is Survivor, and so without bearing the lead, we decided to have buffs, to have the Pride Has Spoken buffs. And so we're really hoping that this community, that all of the listeners will get them for yourselves, get them for your friends. You could wear them on Pride, like the bando type of bando type of situation. Like there's so many ways you could do that. And so Grace, I know, has more details about the logistics behind that, but we're going full buff, baby.
It's pretty, yeah.
In the buff.
We're in the buff.
In the buff, yeah.
Pride Has Spoken is in
Thank
the
you
buff.
for the punch up. Yeah.
The buff is so gay it has 2 pride flags on it, actually. Just it's in the logo, and it has flaming flames, and then also the logo is on the side. So here is the deal with the buff. I said we have the buffs. We actually don't have the buffs because we do need 100 pre-orders to be able to actually purchase the buff. That's the minimum order, and we would like to make sure we get them. And buffs are a little more expensive. If you're familiar with the shirts from the store, we can drop I don't know what the proper I don't do the merch store, but they can be printed and then be shipped out to you, and the buffs have to be all ordered in a bulk order. So we need to do a pre-order. So the website is robiswebsite.com/pride buff. If you go there, you can find the information for how you can pre-order. There'll be no payment information yet. Once we hit 100 pre-orders, we will send an email out with a link where you can actually then pay for it. It's going to be $35 plus shipping. We know it's a little pricier than obviously some of the other products on the store, but again, it's a little pricier of an item, and you can see a mock-up of the buff there. So Evvie, we need 100 pre-orders, so people should go and fill out the pre-order form immediately. The link is in the show notes as well.
Yes, get on it. And as Matt said, it's a buff. So you're getting a headwear, you're getting a shirt, you're getting, it can be used for so many things.
Yeah,
I believe this is called a verse. It's a verse.
What?
Yes.
Wait.
It's versatile.
And I swear, for all you aspiring Survivor players out there, something I literally did before I went on the show was practice, okay, how do I look in it as a headband? How do I look in it as a, you're not going to have a mirror out there. This is your chance. Get the Pride Has Spoken buff, live it up, and try it at home.
You bring up a good point, though, because you could wear it as a skirt, a nice verse bottom. You could wear it as a top, a verse
nice
top, as a hat, even. We have a lot of options. It's very wholesome.
Great. So not just that we're selling the buff this year, the proceeds for the t-shirts and the buffs, all of our proceeds will go to a non-profit charity. Evvie, do you want to let us know where the proceeds are?
Yes, the proceeds from the buff are going to an organization called Point of Pride. The mission of Point of Pride is to provide gender-affirming, life-saving healthcare for trans people, and they have fantastic services. They have an actual transgender surgery fund, so money from this could actually go directly to a trans person who is in need of help covering those healthcare costs. They have an HRT access fund. They give people free chest binders. You can actually donate your old binders if you don't need them anymore. And it's just an absolutely amazing organization that really helps trans people get the healthcare that we need. And yeah, this is extremely close to my heart right now. People who follow me on social media will know that we're about 3 months out from when I had top surgery. And it was absolutely an amazing decision for myself. I'm so happy. And it was it's just the best feeling I feel like every year I get on here and I'm like, everyone, I'm more self-affirmed than ever. And that is the journey of being a queer person that gets to grow up and just keep uncovering more parts of yourself and doing more things to have your full embodiment. And I'm really on that journey. And I was extremely freaking lucky when I had my surgery that it only ended up costing me $500 out of pocket because I have good insurance. And that is not the situation for the majority of people in this country and around the world, certainly. So this is a really, really amazing organization that's really going to directly help people with their healthcare. And yeah, it's amazing. I feel really, really proud that we get to support this org.
We're
Evvie,
so proud. We're proud of you, first of all.
Yeah.
I know Grace, what were you
That's
about to
okay.
say?
Well, as I say, it's a big year for the Pride of Spoken crew.
That's
because,
right.
Well, you got gender affirming surgery earlier this year. I'm getting gender affirming surgery this month. It was not planned. It was not planned to be Pride month. But sometimes the healthcare system messes up, and a happy little accident happens. So I remember when you shared that you were having gender affirming surgery, and I remember it resonating with me so much about this idea of like sharing, and I feel like, yeah, it is like surgery. It's a big deal and very like intimate, but there is this piece of what I think is so important about what you shared at the time, was that we need to make sure we are celebrating like these moments of trans joy when they happen, for people to hopefully understand how important it is that people have access to them when they want them and choose them, and it's medically safe for them to do so. This myth that it's like just happening on a whim as a surgery, not true.
No.
And so I'm so excited that Point of Pride is where the profits are going. My hope. I live in a country where it is covered completely by healthcare, and that is incredibly lucky and fortunate. And I'm very privileged that like I'm going to stay at my parents for a bit and recover, and like I don't have to worry about like really anything in terms of like recovery time. And that is not the situation for so many people. And there are so many groups and organizations in the United States who are actively trying to remove any of this from being possible, let alone be able to like financially afford it. So hopefully we are moving in a direction where like the Point of Pride is like less needed, but until it's still needed, that's where we're going to donate the money to. And I think we'll shout out some different charities all in the course of the month, but that's where our proceeds or our profits for the shirts and the busts will go. So what an exciting year for our little crew.
By the way, just
yeah.
like a big shout out to both of you. I feel like I'm just sitting here getting emotional as you share.
Yeah, man. What gender affirming surgery are you gonna? You could have your lips done. You could. Come on, you should get something. You should get something.
I really want to think about that. Just because I feel a little left out on.
And I think it is to get the third.
I was just gonna say that.
So if you want,
It'll work.
Matt was going to say something wholesome.
Say something wholesome, which is just that we talked about being in Chicago just a few weeks ago together, and what was so cool was I remember talking with somebody who is also having gender affirming surgery, a listener, and just to be able to say like, oh my gosh, like they're like Evvie is here, like Grace is here, like you have so many other people even in this community who are like going on this journey, but also like visibly going on this journey. And I mean, Evvie, I think so often, it's easy for us, especially because you're on Survivor, to think about that representation and visibility, but just like shout out to both of you, for Grace also for just being visible and helping our viewers on a journey. And I know we've met many phenomenal viewers along the viewers. Is that what we're doing? Viewers. We are on YouTube. Yeah, I'll go with it. Listeners mostly, and some viewers. But just big shout out. And I'm thankful that you two exist is the thing. So yeah.
Well, back at
Thanks,
you,
Matt. And I really, really can't wait for next year when, Grace, you've had your surgery. And I'm just really excited for you. And you'll get to listen to this while you're recovering, probably.
That's true. That's what I'll be doing. I'll just listen to it on endless repeat.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to put it on in the surgery room, I think. No, it's so exciting. We have such a great lineup this year. I'm so excited for people. We're going to leave some mystery, except for obviously the one today, where it's probably already in the YouTube title or the podcast episode that you're listening, that it's Jam Jam. So what a lovely way to kick off Pride Month is with last year, 2 seasons ago. Is that true now?
Yes, that was last year.
Wild. That seems
one
wild.
of them.
We won 2 seasons ago, but yeah.
But yeah, we got Jam Jam. It's amazing. I really hope that y'all enjoy the interview. And we're so lucky to live in a time where Jam Jam is a winner of Survivor. We've got this beautiful, wonderful gay man who is just so himself. And really, you'll hear in this interview, he talks a lot about his journey to self-love and things like that. And I just feel like we are blessed, and may we never have to wait whatever the length between Todd and Jam Jam is to have another gay winner, because it's so special. We won't. That's definitely true. Yeah.
There we go.
All right, well, that's it. Let's send it to the interview, and we'll see you all after that.
It is my absolute pleasure to welcome to the Pride Has Spoken the winner of Survivor 44, our queer king, Jam Jam.
Yes.
Hey
Hello,
everybody,
Jam.
how you doing? Hi, I'm doing amazing. Thank you for including me today. Oh my God, I cannot believe we get to talk about this. The tribe has spoken. Pride Month, Evvie Mad. I feel amazing. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. So, from the bathroom of Philadelphia, let's get it on.
We weren't going to say anything about the bathroom, but I
I
will
can't
say
hold
this feels amazing though. Like it's incredible to have you on. Obviously, a Survivor legend. I won't even say a Survivor new era legend because let's be honest, like you've changed the game. Here you are.
There's no asterisks here.
No asterisk here. There we go. But yes, we're excited to have you. And it's so funny. Like, I'll just say it out loud since we're saying things. Like, this is Evvie and I's first interview together for The Pride Has Spoken. So we don't know what we're doing, but clearly you do. I don't know, Jam, what do you want to talk about today? I don't know. Is that where we start, Evvie?
Oh my God. The thing that I think is the most important is that stuff like this is happening. Like, you guys' effort for the tribe has spoken. It's amazing. I mean, being a young gay kid, watching Survivor, I'm a little bit older than you guys are. I'm 37. I've been around the block maybe like an extra decade. But don't tell anyone. I don't know why I said that. But the thing is that I've seen the growth from the beginning because I was already like aware of my queerness and my gayness when Survivor started, right? So I was already aware of how lacking it was around, like when Richard came out, I was like, oh my God, he's gay. And my father is talking about him being gay and I'm gay. And oh my God, what's going to happen? Like, are they going to ask me because Richard is gay? So it's like, it was like real time, real, stuff. And then coming all the way up to here, like us being part of the Survivor queer community on the game, outside the game, and then getting, having this little Pride logo. It looks so pretty. I'm excited.
Look at that. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there's so much there, Evvie. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I love that you, brought in your experiences watching it as a kid there. And like, I think, for so many of us queer people, it's so special that the first winner was a gay person, and that's really cool. And it's, I wasn't watching it as a kid, so I had a different experience of learning that later. And I guess I'm wondering if you could say a bit more about, so you were watching it, I guess, were you rooting for Richard? It's that you were nervous if your family would ask you, did they end up asking you in relation to Richard? Like, how much was that a part of your queer story as a youth?
So the thing is, like, to start, like, the thing with my family per se is like my mom is a hairdresser. My mom is a very important hairdresser in Puerto Rico. So back in the late 90s, early 2000, my mom was like very much involved in the gay community, right? So when there was like a pride parade in San Juan, the float would come in front of her business and scream her name out. And I was a little kid, not a little kid, a teenager. So my family has always been very, very, very involved in the gay scene. So all my mom's friends or her employees would tell her, Jam is gay, Jam is gay, Jam is gay. And she was like, oh, whenever he's ready. But there was definitely a kind of nervousness when it's a subject that it's talk about in a TV show that we're all watching, because like when you're a little kid, like Queer as Folks, the L World, I would watch like hiding in my room. But Survivor was something that my dad was sitting next to me, my brother, my mom. And is Richard the archetype for what I wanted to be as a grown-up? Maybe not, other than winning Survivor. But it is powerful to see a gay guy win in like next to all these people and be a badass, at the end of the day, because he was not the token gay. He was not this like flowery character, which is also awesome, but it was the only thing that we would see. I mean, yeah, he would get naked, and that's what I'm talking about, but he was a powerful mastermind, and it was cool to see another kind of person there,
Yeah, and Absolutely. And he was the provider. He's the hunter. Like he really
Right.
had so much of the kind of like strongman masculine stereotypes in addition to being naked and being called queer derogatorily. So it's a mixed
Yes.
bag for sure.
Mhm.
And then watching my father like root for him, which
Right.
now that I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about it a little bit more, all these memories come back. It's like Jamie from My Season says, "Memory unlock." So it's cool. It's cool to think about it, And then there was Mitch in Australia, and then it was like Brandon, which I was in love with in Africa. I mean, also Silas. Everybody in Africa was gorgeous. Marquisas was the nurse. I follow it. I'm a old school Survivor fan, new era player, whatever.
Yeah, I love this though, because it also relates to this something that comes up for me so much as a Black queer man, that like there's intersectionality too. So obviously so many people, when they talked about you as a winner, when they still talk about you as a winner, they'll reference Richard, they'll reference Todd, but I also recognize that there are so many others, like other Puerto Rican players that you might see yourself in, or just other players you resonate with. Were there like certain players in your fandom that made you think like, oh, I could do it and I could win? Because I mean, you did it. I feel like you had to know you were going to win, but like who were the people that you saw that you just really connected with and resonated with?
I mean, since the moment I saw the game, the first episode, I knew I was going to play. There was something inside of me, and I told Jeff during the casting process, and I said this in my first interviews. I knew I was going to play the game. I knew I was going to be part of it. I was going to be a dream teamer, a production, an editor, something. I was going to play. Something was going to happen, right? It took forever, but it took 24 years, right?
Yeah.
Or 21 years for me to play. But people that I like saw myself as, here's the thing with me. I root for girls. I root for women, powerful women.
Same.
I didn't see a lot of myself in the man, right? And I think it has come back to what my mom is as a powerful woman, right? I love Celine Dion. I love Barbara Streisand. This is what I hear in the car, Halo, powerful icons, right? So to me, Sandra is an icon. Parvati is an icon. Seri is an icon. At a certain time, Eliza, maybe not anymore. I'm kidding. But people from back in the day that were like, you take it, boom, man, and that's the thing. Because to tell you the truth, there was not a lot of like gay men that were amazing, right? It was Richard and then Todd, like in terms of like an exciting game. There were people that tried to do it, but they would not make it really far. So they're not like ingrained in my brain like the characters or the people that I told you about. So I definitely like shaped my game for that. And even when I was playing the game, like when I was talking to Caroline or Sarah and Tika, I would be like, you're the kind of people I root for. Like I don't root for myself. So it's a little bit of, of my scale, It's going on here. What's, I don't know.
So you don't feel like you root for yourself? Do you feel like that is still the case now?
This
Do you
is
think
deep.
So? Yes, I mean, I was rooting for you watching the show, and so I really hope that you can let yourself root for yourself directly a little more, because I mean, you're wonderful, and we're so glad to have had you on the show, and you're a fantastic winner. So I really hope you got a little piece of that.
I think of course I was rooting for Mihaela, but I never saw myself on the game. I never saw anyone that was like me. So I don't know how that would feel like. I remember when I was in casting, your season, Evvie, was coming up, and I would talk a lot about you and Ricard during my casting as people that, oh my God, I want to like, carry the torch from what they're doing. So, and I would, talk about that. And because it's very different, I'm a little bit older, I'm 34, I'm 33. Yeah, I'm not like as deep into like obsessed with the show as I was when I was younger.
Mhm.
But I definitely saw a positive change in the new era where our story was more like real and it was more explained. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
it was not like, look at this random fact about this person, you know. It was something like, oh, this is what this person is about, you know. And
Mhm.
it was like, you can be a goat farmer with a wife
Mhm.
and kids, you know, like it's just as a real our life as
Yeah.
a,
Yeah.
this should, but
Yeah.
I didn't see that before 40. I didn't
Yeah.
see that.
No, I really feel that. And
Yeah.
even the thing you're saying of like you're watching my season and you can say, okay, there's Evvie and Ricard and also Jeannie in the pre-merge, right? And you can actually
Mhm.
say, oh wow, there's actually even if none of them are me, at least there's a couple options to choose
Yeah,
from, and that makes
yeah,
such a difference than, having just, Richard, he's the one example and he's naked. That sucks. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like, and I really do think, I think that was something that was really special about your season. There were so many people with different LGBTQ identities. And I loved when you all made that pride shirt, which I don't know if you can still buy that, but I thought that was super special to just see the representation in there. And I don't know, was that something you all were talking about in the game, or was that something more that came out after? Or
well, I hope that you can get all of them in it so they can talk about, their story. But we definitely felt a sense that our season was special and we were open about it, and we were like, because there's always people, like even the fact that Parvati and Erica has come out of as queer after they played and it aired, that can still happen. So it might be more than 6 in our season. I'm not talking
that's
about
right.
per se my season, but I'm talking about other seasons might have a lot of people too. But the fact that we were talking about it openly and talking about what it means and talking about how it value, and the fact that at least there were 2 per tribe, I think it was. No, it was 3 in 1, 3, 2. But we were very, very, very open, and not always it was shown as part of the story. Like Caroline, that part of her wasn't shown, but I do remember day 2 talking about it with her. um Definitely when I met Claire after, when I met we knew about Matthew, we knew about Josh, we knew about me. Hello, we were wearing pride shirts in Ponderosa, all of us. And I don't know what's up with like gay married man of color. Well, no, Matthew is not of color, but he has a he has a tan. Um,
Yes.
we cannot get along. We cannot get along. It's like girls' alliances are nothing. Like the way girls' alliances don't work, women alliances, gay men alliances, forget about it. That's never gonna
Yes.
happen.
But
Never.
I
Yes.
loved it. I loved that because it showed that no group is a monolith. Like people are just expecting, oh, these people are the same identity. Like they are going to work together. And it was really cool to see, like, oh no, you thought you knew, but it's not that. Like it's so much more complicated because you could be out there, I don't know, another time and have like the same identities, and yet just with different personalities, like maybe you would actually gel. So I thought that was really cool, actually, just because people expect like, oh, they're going to work together, but like that's not that simple. So I feel like a lot of people learned a lot just by seeing that conflict and butting heads, and it was really entertaining to just like selfishly to see the struggle and the beads,
The
jam and the
cattiness.
beads,
Call it what it is. The cattiness.
the cattiness and the beads falling apart because they were poorly constructed. All of that. Shout to Josh. Lots of love to Josh. But yeah,
Nice.
no, I think that that's like the beauty of it. I want to ask though, because we're kind of getting into like the conversation about like
Before
the
I'm sorry I
identities.
interrupt you because I want to say
Oh,
something, and I know
please,
that answer is
please.
going to lead to another one. I think it's very, very important because of what you just said. Because I don't know where you're going, but you would imagine a male gay married would get along, or at least most people would say. But
Exactly.
that's just so amazing. The first thing you would say about me, Josh, or Matthew is that we are gay married men. That's how you would like put it in a little box. But other than that, we are like polar opposites. So that
Mhm.
speaks to the amazingness of having the 3 of us in the same scenario at the same time, see, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. This is why we have pride about it. This is who we are, but we are a lot more, and this is amazing. And it was such a proof of everything. That way,
I mean,
everything.
maybe on that note, though, what was it even like just having a season that was the most like queer season of Survivor, considering everything we've talked about? Like, what was that like for you, especially after the fact? Because I don't like, did you know that it was as queer as it was? Because obviously you didn't interact with everyone the same on the island. But yeah, I'm curious about that.
Well, you don't meet everybody at the same time. You definitely
Yeah.
spend a little bit of time before you start playing together. So you start
Mhm.
making ideas of what the other person might identify themselves as. There's also people that get voted out before you get meet them in the merge. So you just hear their story through what somebody else. There's people that you think have more to say, but don't say it. So it's a never-ending story. You know, it keeps evolving. It definitely did not affect our gameplay. It did not affected strategy. It did not join us. It didn't make us powerful because we were there together. If anything, the opposite. But it was definitely something to be proud of, especially after I won. There was an article, somebody that interviewed me the day after, and he says, "How does it feel to be the first PLC queer winner?" And I was like, "Oh my God, that's a lot of weight that I have to carry. Like, what does that mean? You know, do I have to be perfect, or do I have to be what? Do I have to be inspirational? Because, you know, I have many attributes that maybe are not inspirational, but I don't give a you know, but it is a lot of weight in my shoulder, but now I get to carry it with Erica. So thank you."
That's right. That's right. And
Yeah.
I just want to resonate. Like, I really feel that whenever you're the first or the only, it's so much pressure, because then you need to be the example. You know, I think about this all the time. Like, if I do something as a non-binary out person that is representing that, if I do it wrong or, you know, differently than some people do it, that's going to be how everyone learns it, you know, and that's so stressful. And like, first of all, to say, I think you're doing an amazing job just as a Survivor winner in general, but like,
Yes.
it is so special. Yeah. That, you know, now we have Erica to hold that. And she is obviously like a completely different person than you know, and holding different identities within that as well, you know, and we just that's what we need. More queer winners, more queer POC winners, just more. And then, you know, yeah, it just takes the pressure off everyone. And you get to see, like, yeah, even in your season, you're not even the only queer POC married man. Like, you know, that's perfect. Like, Josh is a very different than a Jam Jam, and that's wonderful, you know. And I think that it's so clear, you know, you know, it's so clear when people watch the show. I think they really do often like look for the person that in whatever way feels like them the most, and whether it's that direct identity comparison or just, you know, vibes. You know, you vibe with Sandra, like that makes total sense to me. I see that completely. And I just really do feel like the more different people, the more stories, the more fans get to have people to root for. Like, it just makes the show actually a better experience for every single person involved, players, viewers, everybody, you know.
Amen.
So that's my soapbox. It wasn't a question to you.
I agree 100%, 100,000%.
Yeah. No, I think it's beautiful. And like all this makes me think, because there's the show and what we get. And I do think even in the new era, like from your season, Evvie, to Jam Jams, like we've seen the stories evolve and get more dynamic. And I think the story producers and the show is learning how to tell more dynamic stories. I also think they're getting more comfortable with that. But I want to ask Jam Jam, like, in your words, like, who are you? Because I mean, obviously we know who you are. That's why we're here. But who are you that maybe we didn't get to see in the rest of the show?
I think a very important part of my journey, and this is something that, Evvie, if you remember, when the casting likes something, you have to repeat it 1,600 times.
Yes.
So it's like, here we go again. Okay, so my story and my journey.
It's new for us.
Yeah. When I came out, and I talked a little bit to Josh about it, they show it that same episode of the Idol. I didn't feel pretty when I was a kid, right? So I've always carried that with me a little bit. That's not what I present normally. I do have moments where I feel like enough. Every time less, because as you get older, you learn to like handle that. But growing up in a family where we were surrounded by a lot of people of the gay community, pretty people, like gorgeous models, like hello, the elite of the gay community in Puerto Rico, like ba ba boom. I was like, and I'm supposed to be gay and like date them? Like how? Like they're never gonna never look at me, right? So it took me a long time, I would say like after college, for me to feel like acceptable
Yeah.
to someone else, go to a bar, like feel pretty. I did made a really big friendship after college of someone that taught me how to be gay at a bar. Because
Mhm.
you might see myself now, but if you go back 14 years, I didn't know how to ask for a drink, right? Because you're so scared. And
Yeah.
it's something that you learn with life, and something that you learn how to be confident, but you don't learn how to be confident by changing yourself. You need to be confident about like learning how to deal with who you are.
Mm.
And a lot of what I was on the island, and a lot of what I keep doing in life, is like remembering that you are what you are. What are you gonna do? Take a little magic wand and change it? I mean, there's stuff we can change. We can change our shirt. We can change, different stuff. But here, in between here, is the most important part, because it's like it's like I would tell this to the younger people in the show during my season, like younger people. Caroline and I would talk about it, and Jamie to them, because we were older. I was like, once you know what confidence feels like, once you know what it means, when you know the effect it has on people, it's magical. It's like pixie dust that was like put onto your body. Nobody's gonna take it off. Um, it's like the dog smell, the dog smell fear, like people smell confidence, right? And that's something that I wish maybe was shown a little bit more during the game, because we did have conversations with the younger people from our season that they were young. I mean, I'm talking about people 15 years younger than me, right? 13 years younger than me, 11 years younger than me, that were amazing, are gonna be greater than I think are greater than me, and are gonna be even greater. But there's that thing of the confidence, and the story of confidence, and how I manage myself, and how I interact with people, and how I do business, and how I socialize, that was not like portrayed enough on the show, because I think it was taken for granted because how loud I am. But it all has to go hand in hand with who I am, and how my purpose of how I walk into stuff and what I do carries itself, or something like that. I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. And I want to like really uplift. I feel like a thing I hear often from people who are newer in their queerness, or, struggling to come out, is kind of this, oh, well, am I queer? I think I'm queer, but I've never kissed someone, or I've never dated
Right.
someone. So like maybe I'm not, or even like it doesn't count, or I'm not allowed to identify that way if I haven't, had that validation with someone else. And I think what you're really speaking to is how much, it's all about you and yourself, and yourself. And if, and also self-learning and knowing is a lifelong journey. I also really believe, but that it starts from you, not from other people. Right. And so I think, often people, really, that can be a helpful part of the queer process of like, trying things out and experimenting with people. But doesn't have to be the beginning step. It doesn't have to be a core step, because at the end of the day, like the process you're going through of finding yourself is that really like, I don't know, coming out story and moment. And I think of like all these times in my life where I was like feeling feelings towards girls, and like, oh, well, just shut that down. There's nowhere to ever put that. Like, I'll never, like, what do I even do with that? Blah, like, and then dating men was easy because there's a script for that I knew the script.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I just, you just have to like feel it in you, and not be afraid, if you can, to just own that in yourself,
Yeah. And at the same time, like to build on what you just said too, like there's feeling it in you, and also like so many of the images, so many of like the stories and the people we see, like Jam Jam, everything you said too about like just what you're feeling resonates so much for me, not only as a Black man, queer man, but like also as someone who like does not have like the six-pack abs right now, but who knows, like maybe I'll decide to show up someday. I don't care. I like to learn to love yourself just as you are, and accept yourself in all of those ways, as Evvie was saying, is beautiful. And I think that just I have even more of an appreciation for you sitting here, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like Jam Jam already from the start of the season, just in who you are and your personality, like gave so many people, including myself, so much life. But then seeing you succeed in spaces that we don't always like get to see people who we relate to succeed, like is amazing. And who knows, like maybe we would have fought out there. Maybe I would have been just like Josh. Maybe I would have been making some janky beads and all. I don't know why I can't get away from that, but I'm just saying, like it's beautiful because you this is so corny, but this is what this podcast is for. Like you matter, and your example not only like has mattered to me, but like so many people it's mattered to. So I don't know where to take it. See, we're not big on the questions here. We're just big on
I
like
love it.
the
It's very
observations and like the
sharing.
love. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's going in between what you both are saying. Like there's stuff, you know, that like you're trying out or you don't know, or you question yourself, and you don't have to know the answers, right? Like you just go for it. And if you need to reach out to me, reach out to me. Go to my Instagram, DM me. I'm pretty sure Evvie and many others that you've met
That's right.
wouldn't mind like answering a question. It might take like a say hello, like meet at a party, like 2 seconds, talk about it. To have that little approval, like some sense of approval, like within yourself, that can help you be a little bit happier, including the fact that you're saying that you need a six-pack or you don't need a six-pack. Let me tell you, I never had a six-pack. I don't need a six-pack. I'll never get a six-pack. I'll do it with a six-pack. I'm trying to do the, you know, the Shangela thing. But
we love.
because if you have not yet know that somebody out there enjoys yourself, somebody out there enjoy me, somebody there enjoy Evvie, somebody out there enjoy Matt. If you don't know this yet, people, go out there. You're looking in the wrong place, baby. Because you don't need to change. There's somebody that's gonna be like type up and describe you. Just need to, you know, go for it.
100%. And exactly as you're saying, also like the most attractive quality is comfort with yourself, right?
100%.
And like people can feel when, you know, you're wanting to be someone else or trying to be something different, and like that having that sense. Like I literally the day, like, okay, talking about myself a lot,
Please.
but like literally like the day after I kissed a girl for the first time, genuinely. So this is, you know, had some external validation there. I literally just like looked at myself in the mirror and had that sense of like, holy shit, I was trying and failing in my head. I was always trying and failing to be something. And now I look at the exact same image of me and I'm like, oh, I'm hot. I'm a hot lesbian. I'm not a hot straight girl. Like, and that's, and I, you know, probably some people did think I was hot as a straight girl, whatever. But like for me, it was that gear click. And if you could just reimagine like, oh, I'm not hot guy with six pack. I'm like hot, sexy bear, like whatever I am, you know, like as you fucking are. And you know, like, yeah, it's just like everyone's beautiful, and that innate self-confidence just like really, really, really is so beautiful. And every queer person out there listening, like wherever you are in having that, you will have that one day. I really like truly believe that for you. And I do think like age helps, trying different things helps, like meeting more people helps, and just like you are beautiful, like no matter like how weird and funky you think you are, like someone likes that. I like that, you know, like, and like really
funky. Somebody like funky. Yeah,
that's right.
Yes.
That's right. No, truly, truly, truly. And I do think, again, that is like the really cool thing about having so many different queer people on these shows. It just gives you a whole range of like, look at all these beautiful, sexy, hot island people that, you know, like, you know, you might not have known was a type, you know?
Exactly. I agree.
No, That's
I don't know
it.
about you, but I love Island Sexy.
Yes.
I think people during the game look prettier than when they're in the jury.
Oh, me too. I
Not
always
you,
ask.
not you,
Oh.
not you. You look amazing always.
No,
But some people are
the tan
like,
helped. The tan helped. Well, I always tell Rob, please use an in-game picture for me. I like it. I was so just because I was so nervous in the pregame. You know, you're so uncomfortable. Like you're like,
oh my God.
ah, they're taking all these pictures of me. Like, ah.
Those
Oh my
pregame
gosh.
pictures are the worst.
Mhm.
Like one person maybe a season gets a good picture. I remember watching Amazing Race as a young kid. I always see like people would go like this back to back. You remember
Yeah.
on Amazing Race? And they go like,
Corny.
and I was like, if I ever, you know me, like thinking I
Mhm.
would have never done it, and then I did it. I was like, if I ever get on those shows, I'm never gonna cross my arms. First 30 seconds taking the pictures.
Arm
Because
cross.
thinking. You're not even thinking.
But
Oh.
speaking of your picture, actually, something I want to bring up, which is a thing that you, Jam, and you, Evvie, have in common, is just the shirts. Because you have this epic shirt. I'm going to have to find a picture of it. But you were wearing this like beautiful purplish cat shirt. Where
Yeah.
is this shirt? Why don't you wear it all the time? And Evvie, I feel like I'm surprised you didn't bring this up sooner as somebody who's known for your shirts.
Loud shirt game. Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember, I don't know about you, but like, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to wear this shirt in front of everyone. And they don't know me.
Mhm.
Like, who do I think I am wearing this shirt? And then people are like, because they iron it. I mean, I'm not supposed to talk to, but whatever. They iron those pictures, right? And then I have a different T-shirt, and then when I'm gonna do the photo, I put it on, and everybody goes like, and I'm like, oh shit, what I did to myself.
Yes, it's so true because you're in the pregame and everyone's I mean people in general are trying to like not give stuff away or like not do too much, so you're wearing just like t-shirt whatever, and then as Jam's saying, then there's one day where everyone's like wearing their game clothes all of a sudden, or like your pregame pictures also where you're like really trying to represent your personality. Here we go, the beautiful Jam fit, and like yeah, it is so different, and you're really like exposing your personality in a whole new way, and it's the first chance that you don't even get to talk to people about it. But I'm sure, I mean, was like I forget exactly what Matt and Josh were wearing, but was that a moment where you were able to clock each other a little bit of like, okay, we've got some good vibes here, or Jam was the loudest
Well,
and it remained?
the day that I took that cat shirt, I
Yeah.
put on a Guess Pride shirt, like
Nice.
Guess in rainbow letters. And as soon as I come out from breakfast, Josh, like we're like separated, we cannot talk to each other. He goes past me and he sees the shirt of the rainbow, and he goes like,
Are we calling that a side eye for the audio?
yeah. And I was like,
Side-eye.
dude, I'm showing you I'm
Side-eye.
gay, and you're giving me this side eye. I mean, now we're like super bestie. I've stayed in his house with my mom. He stayed in my house with his husband. Like we are super friends. But because he was like a little ballerina walking around, like And then Matthew was like wearing these uber short shorts with a little like, everything showing. And I was like, oh my God, there's 3 gay people here. But because I carry myself a different way. Unless I open my voice, people don't know, right? And I until I wore that shirt, and I was like, oh, I got the side eye from one of my people.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. And that really like, especially when you're looking for that connection moment and then it gets a little rejected, that's rough. But I'm glad that you all have patched it since the show. I want to ask you, I know we're approaching our end here, but it is Pride Month, and I love a good queer love story. And I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your husband. And I also know that you all recently did a vow renewal. Is that right? And yeah, if there's anything you'd like to share about that.
Course. So my husband is from Mexico, right? His name is Karim. He's actually he's a fashion designer, and he did all my clothing for the show. So if you guys like any look, go to his webpage, blacklagoon.mx. So actually, Pride, regarding Pride and me meeting him, I would travel every summer with my mom and her best friends, which I consider my uncles, somewhere.
Incredible.
And one year we went to Mexico, and they liked it so much. We always change the location, right? That the next year we returned to Mexico, but we went for Pride. And me being the party animal that I am, because if you know something about Jam likes a party. Um, I went to I hang out like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then all my uncles, which are like my mom's age, they were like, "Jam, we're like tired. We're not gonna go out with you tonight. Like, you go out by yourself." I was like, "We're in Mexico. Let's go. Then I'm gonna go by
Right?
myself." So I go to Mexico City Wednesday night, and there's a club that has moved location, but it still exists, and it's one of the best ones in my opinion. It's called Baby, like Baby the Club, and it has like super like pop music, like Britney Spears and stuff like that, right? And it's always the same music, but it's always amazing. And the crowd is a little bit younger, but here's the thing with gay people: you go where you're like appreciated, right? So I know people that might be a little bit younger than me. I
They
get attention,
appreciate the
right?
jam. Hmm.
So that's how we met. So we went. I went to that bar. I went to that bar, and a drag queen comes by past me, and she goes like, "My friend is looking at you, and he thinks you're hot." And I go like, "Well, tell your friend to say hi to me then."
Nice.
And this guy comes by, say hi, but keep walking, go to the bathroom, and then comes back when the drag queen is talking to me, and it's the guy, and that happens to be my husband. So
Wow.
I stayed in Mexico one more day. I left the next day, but I was going back to the summer trip with my uncles to Puerto Vallarta instead of Mexico City. And I was like, I'm gonna come back to Mexico, but I'm gonna be going to Puerto Vallarta, which is a 3 hours flight from Mexico City. I was like, would you like to join us? So the second time I saw him ever was in the airport of Mexico City on our way to Puerto Vallarta, where he met all my uncles and my mom. The second time ever I met him.
Wow. Brave of
Pressure.
him.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure.
Crazy. I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I don't know why I do this shit. I'm crazy. But it worked out. We kept talking. Then, I traveled back and forth a few times. Then he came to Puerto Rico. And then the second time he came to Puerto Rico was the pandemic. And we were supposed to travel to New York, Miami, to go to Disney, like stuff. And he was in Puerto Rico for 5 days, and they closed everything around the world. Everything.
Wow. Wow.
So he stayed the whole time he could, because everything in Mexico Mexico didn't close like the US. People still were, because there was not the same helps that we got. But I was like, you cannot work. Like, what's the point? Like, just stay here, right? And we're gonna be fine. I mean, and then we got married, and now
Wow.
we're married for 3 years now. And because we got married during the pandemic, that's why we did the vows renewals in Mexico, which is probably what you saw, that Heidi, Jamie, and Helen went to. So I had one from each tribe with me there. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Oh, gorgeous.
That's so sweet. Wow. So COVID really like forced the U-Haul on you.
Yes. Yes. That's why we actually like met, right? Like, what we're supposed to do in a studio
Yeah.
apartment
Yeah.
with no doors. The only door was the door to the bathroom. So there was like no walking to the other room. It was like, so if we don't want to talk to each other, one of us has to go into the bathroom.
Yeah, right. And here we find you in the bathroom again. So
Wow, things really do come full circle.
Oh, I'm so happy for you, and I'm glad that you got to do a ceremony also and had some of your castmates. That's really sweet.
Thank you.
That queer love. And so now that it is, okay, full disclosure, behind the curtain, we are recording, but in May, but you're listening to this in June. Jam, do you have any big Pride plans coming up, or that you have already done by the time people are listening to this?
My favorite question.
I think Mexico City Pride is so much fun. I always go to Mexico City. So I will be in Mexico City the same weekend of Pride in New York, but they celebrate it on Saturday instead of Sunday. And yeah, that's where I'll be. I last year I was in the bear float because
Incredible.
my
Naturally.
brother-in-law loves the bear bar, so he wrote to them and he was like, the winner of Survivor is my brother-in-law and he's a bear, and he put us on the float, which was crazy.
Was that fun?
It was fun. It was a blast. I was dressed as a Viking, which was very fun.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I need to find the pictures or video or something of this, but I'll start looking. You'll have to share them or like post them
I think they're on
as we post them.
Instagram. I'm not
There
a
we
very
go.
shy person. What I don't post
No.
is Speedos, but everything else I post.
That's right. I once I went to Provincetown, which is like gay Mecca in Cape Cod for people who don't know. And it just happened to be Bear Week. Didn't know that was going to be happening there. But yeah, I feel like you could have definitely been king
That's
there.
going to be July 15, 16, 17.
Are you coming? Okay, hit me up in Boston on the other side.
Wait a minute.
I can't go because I'm going to be that weekend in DragCon with my own booth.
Wow.
What an announcement. I
So
feel
if
like
anybody wants to go meet me in DragCon LA, July 18 and 20, Yam Yam is going to be there as the Survivor winner, queer. POC.
That's so fun. And will you be in drag, or you will be in
Oh my God, I didn't even think of this.
I mean,
no. I'm gonna wear my Survivor outfits and have merch and I think I'm gonna travel with my torch so people take pictures. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I love RuPaul. It's like my second TV show. So I've been lucky enough to go to these award shows, like queer award shows, like the Queerties or the GLAAD. I went to the Emmys, and we always lose to RuPaul, but I'm like, oh, we lost. But then I was like, RuPaul, they're not Survivor. RuPaul.
Yeah, your two loves. Yeah.
Either way, you're a winner. You're a winner both ways. And because I get that. I mean, I obviously have not been on either of those, but I get the tension of that fight. I was really pulling for Survivor and all, but you know what? It happens. It happens.
I thought maybe, but it's all about traders this year. Let's see what happens.
I was gonna say that'd be the next place we need to see you, if anything. So I don't know. I
was thinking Survivor, and I don't know what you're thinking about.
That's right.
Look, you could do it all. You could do it all. So
yeah.
It's good
Yam Yam, is there anything else that the listeners should follow, should look for coming out, places to follow you? Anything else you want to plug for us?
Well, I always have my Instagram. I put everything there. My Instagram is my real name, which is Yamil, YAMILPR, because I'm from Puerto Rico. You can find everything on my webpage, jamjampr.com. I'm always at my hair salon in Puerto Rico. So if you're ever in Puerto Rico and you want to get your hair, nails, lashes, barber, whatever you want done, I'm there. You can take a picture with me or visit me or just say hi. You don't have to buy anything. I like talking to people in Puerto Rico. And I'm always at viewing parties. So Bryce and Wendell or anything like Survivor viewing party or whatever viewing party, or even like I'm trying to crash like one of the queer parties in New York. Let me see next year what I do.
Yes.
So Yam Yam lives in Puerto Rico, but there's airplanes. So
fantastic.
There we go. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And I'll give an exclusive. Like, I heard that we have a special deal for your salon that if people go in and they get, whatever they want done, they could get the second for the same exact price. So it's perfect.
Oh my God, I love it. I was so scared. I was like, thank you.
Yeah, there we go. But
for free, I give stickers to children.
And you'll get free stickers if you're a child. Thank you.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Jam Jam. It was so nice to talk to you. And truly, like, it's so great to have queer winners of this show, and really, really grateful for you. So, thank you for winning $1 million for me.
Oh, baby. You're welcome.
I'm Grace Leeder. I use she, her pronouns. You can follow me on social media at Hi From Grace, and make sure you buy a buff from robhasawebsite.com/pridebuff.
Yes, and I am Matt Scott. I use he, him pronouns. You could follow me on social media at MattScottGW, and you could get a Pride Has Spoken shirt at robhasawebsite.com/store.
And I'm Evvie Jagoda. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on Instagram at Evvie Jag and on Twitter at Evvie Jagoda. And as a reminder, all the proceeds from both the shirt and the buff will go to Point of Pride. Please buy a product today. This was
The
Pride
has spoken.
It's so
Pride has spoken. We did it.
We did.
Just because we're recording, can we just do it like one? Just say that last line one more time. I don't know why I'm making us do this.
No, it's good. This was the Pride
has spoken.
Matt, you say it so slow.
Wait, one more time.
We're done. This was the Pride
has spoken.
It's my wait, one more. I'm starting too fast. This was
the
Pride
has spoken.
Leave all these in.
Yeah, leave all these.
Leave them all in. Yeah.